Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you once again, and I am glad to see such a good participation from our partners. I welcome you all on behalf of India IT 360 and Microsoft for the Virtual Partner Conclave 2022 in association with Microsoft. We have a great, exciting session lined up for you all, and we would like to talk about the agenda going forward. The first segment that we're going to talk about is the panel discussion, in which we are talking about the major point of today's scenario, which is winning customer trust and ensuring data security in the hybrid world. To start and introduce on the session, I would like to invite our panelists, Mr. Vineet Nambudiri, Director Commercial Microsoft India, Mr. Sujoy Brahmachari, he's the Chief Technology and Security Information Officer with USC Group, and also has been industry veteran for the last 30 years. And he's also an CISO for Hero MotoCorp. Spearheading and leading this conversation would be Mr. Alok Gupta. He's the MD of IndiaIT 360 and also the president of Delhi-based Channel Association, PCAT. Over to you, Mr. Gupta.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Geetanjali. And namaskar, good afternoon to all the partners. Hope all is well at your end. Now, the topic for this panel discussion is winning customer trust and ensuring data security in the world of hybrid world. So, as we have seen over the last couple of years that there is a very sharp and unexpected shift in the working culture across the organizations. We all know pandemic was the start of this hybrid work culture where work from home became the new normal. Organizations had to rethink and redesign their IT policies with respect to the asset monitoring and data security. Their traditional controlled environment, which they were using, were no longer existing. They were also required to maintain the productivity and business growth. So in this hybrid world, organizations look for equal support from you all, which is channel partners, to ensure that they get the best solution with all cybersecurity protocols in place. We have in our panel two veterans from the industry. So I would like to understand from them that with such a huge workforce transformation due to this hybrid work model, what are the key drivers that make this model a success for organizations? So first, I would like to have a comment from Sujoy, then of course from Vineet. Over to you, Sujoy.
Thank you, Alok, and thank you to all concerned who has invited me for this panel discussion. Yes, Alok, you have rightly said the work from home is the new normal for now, and it has been adopted by majority of organizations across the globe. The model which has both merit and demerit, but as someone like me who is responsible for the cybersecurity at organization level, I have seen a paradigm shift in the requirement of cybersecurity to ensure the productivity of the organization. I think the driver should be to have a proper SOP, which should be a combination of people, the awareness of your employees, your partners, your vendors, and your consumers. Also, it has to be tightly coupled with information security management processes and do's and don'ts kind of a thing. And lastly, the right technology to create a proper connectivity between the main data center and from wherever you are working. And this is going to help to get the uninterrupted IT services wherever an employee is working, either he's working from home or any other location. This is the summation from my side, Alok.
Thank you, Sujay. Thanks a lot for your inputs. Now I would like to Vineet to put in some few words on this particular topic. Vineet, over to
Yeah,
you, please.
sure, Alok. I guess great question. I think it's top of the mind for a lot of people today, right? Uh, and I think the one topic which has been discussed and debated a lot during pandemic and post-pandemic is definitely the future of work, right? How is the future of work gonna change, right? I'm sure that's been a headache for most of the HRs and top management for large and small organizations, right? We at Microsoft, look, we are a large organization with 100,000 plus employees, but we also are a partner for a lot of our end customers who are in this journey to hybrid, right? So for us, this was again something that we started 2 years back on research and surveys to understand, hey, what's it that the employee wants, uh, right? In the new normal, right? And I'll just throw some numbers so that you guys get some context. Look, 80% of the managers said they want flexible work policies for their people. 73% of the employees said we want remote work. But then 67 of them also said that they want in-person collaboration, right? Hence that entire paradox of hybrid work, right? What do I do? Right? That's like a that's a question which I'm sure most of the organizations are still solving, right? Uh, so the bottom line is hybrid is here to stay, right? But then the question is, how do you make that successful, right? And that's the next phase of journey that most of the organizations are in, right? How do you ensure that your employees are productive? How do you ensure that the employees are able to collaborate the same way they did earlier when they were physically present in office, right? I mean, you're creating multiple endpoints. How do you ensure that all those endpoints, which are now not managed by you, right, are safe and secure? You have the right. Do you have the right security level at an IT infrastructure? I'm sure. I mean, the success of this we would come to know in the coming months and years. But I think the top priority for most of the CIOs, CXOs, CTOs are going to be ensuring that productivity, collaboration, and the overall work culture isn't affected too much as they move to hybrid norm. Yeah.
Thank you, Vineet. Thanks for your input. Not only Microsoft, when as an association president, I also interact with a lot many CIOs, a lot many companies, and everywhere the same answer we are getting, that employees are looking for one flexible timing, which was there earlier also, but now they are looking for flexible places to work. They do not want to work from office, many times even not from home. They say that we are going for somewhere else, and they want to continue to work instead of taking the leave, going for holiday, but they are continuing to work from that place. And many of the places still it is going on, though the offices are open in totality, but also especially in MSME companies, offices are, most of the offices are open, but still few employees are coming few days a week, and on rotational basis they are coming. So my next question is on the cyber security in this environment, and it is for Sujoy. That adoption of hybrid work model has also shifted dynamics of cybersecurity. So how are the organizations dealing with increasing cyber threats while keeping their growth focus intact? Sujoy.
Well, Alok, the biggest task which comes with this particular model is the monitoring and securing your all assets and data. Now, when you understand that when your perimeter level network of any organization has moved into the home of employees or any other remote places, here comes the major issue. Since there is not much of control over the last mile of the network, internet, it can be an open internet like hotspot, DSL, etc. And the lack of security essentials, this becomes the weakest link, which is being exploited by the all these cyber criminal and pose a greater threat to the organization in protecting their asset. So, to ensure this hybrid model for an organization, there is a need, again, I will emphasize, on to define a SOP, which should cover the right security solution. I don't want to take the name of the technologies and all here in this particular discussion, but it should be right security solution on the assets, getting connected on the open network, and also another important thing, this particular model, the hybrid model, work from home, also allowed people using their personal systems, personal devices. So again, there is a caution which should be part of SOP, that any kind of softwares which are used in personal systems should be also genuine, and it should be current version and patching, so that there is no exploitation uh, from their local system. This is the summation from my side, Alok.
I think you're on mute, Alok.
Alok, sir, you're on.
Alok, we can't hear you.
Thank you, Sujay. I'm sure the partners who are attending this session must be having a great insight now that actually what direction they have to move in order to satisfy the customer. Now, my next question is to Vineet right now. As we all know that gaining customer trust is a must to build a strong relationship. But with rapidly changing business landscape, how can software resellers continue to deliver on trust throughout the customer journey?
Great question, Alok, and I'm sure that's top of the mind for a lot of people on the call, right? I mean, they do it day in, day out with the customers, and I'm sure they have a rhythm of doing it, right? But my couple of points would definitely be, uh, I think it's not about the immediate benefits that you've got to go sell, but the long-term benefits that you've got to go sell. Now, when I say that, what I mean is you've got to be the consultant to the end customer, guiding them through these turbulent times of changes of technology moving fast and stuff like that. And that would then eventually lead to a trust between the reseller and the end customer. And we think of it that way in Microsoft. So when we directly go to an end customer and pitch, it's all about it's all about cost versus long-term benefit, right? So we wear a hat of a consultant than, selling our software out, right? So if it means that, hey, this particular software is costly, but in the long term helps them grow their business, that's what we'll recommend. I mean, those are the hard, tough conversations which I would recommend the resellers to have with the end customers, right? Um, they may look a little tough at the beginning, but once they understand the benefit of the in the long run, I'm sure they're going to come back to you for more orders, and they become their lifelong your lifelong customer, right? So look, I think the one point which in my 20 odd years in the industry I have seen is, uh, be the consultant and not a seller. The moment you take that path, the customers tend to be with you for life. Yeah.
Thank you, Vineet. So very rightly, you have said that every partner should become the consultant from the vendor for a customer. And I feel that most of the partners gets the referral business more than they go and try to sell to a new organization. So once you build a good trust with your current customer, he will bring you 10 more customers. And that is possible, as Vineet has said, when you become a consultant for them rather than being just a vendor to them. So now, Sujay, my next question again goes to you. What is the one piece of practical advice that you would give to a reseller, to a partner, and also to a IT head of a medium sized business that they should be cognizant of while helping define the devices strategy for hybrid workspace?
Well, Alok, the partners definitely need to be.
Sujay, you are blank. So Sujay, you are blank for 5 seconds. Repeat it. Yeah, you can repeat.
You guys are not able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was saying, Alok, that partners definitely need to equip themselves also with security solution. They need to their house need to be ordered in a sense that they can service their customer and also protect their data and assets. Also, partner also need to ensure and encourage their fellow community to sell genuine genuine stuff so that their customer enjoys all kind of native features of security. There are a lot of good native features are there in current software that can be also very useful. So that will come when you're going to sell proper genuine softwares. So for partners, I will be only putting these two words, these two things only. And for the IT head, security in charge of an organization, I will be only repeating what I said little back, is that you guys should have a proper SOP to run this hybrid model. That SOP should talk about what kind of level of security you should have on endpoints, on your data center level, whether it's a captive or on cloud, and at the end on the perimeter level. So there should be layer of defense which is going to help you to run your IT services without any interruptions. And most important thing, you should have a mechanism to monitor to monitor your entire operation. You should be having a visibility what is happening on your network, so that in case of any issue, any problem, you can take proactive actions. This is what I can say right now. Hello.
Thanks, Sujay. So I think what message Sujay is trying to give to the partners, that what exactly an organization will be requiring and what kind of solutions you need to pitch in. So you should be ready, equipped to provide these solutions to the customers. And it is a challenge to identify for each and every partner, because here the partner we have are also from B and C class cities, from smaller cities also, who have joined us. I believe that there are certain numbers, and it is a moral responsibility which we all also play, being in the capital of the city. And the OEMs also, I will suggest Vineet also, that they should look at that. Reaching to them is also a very important point with the right solution, so they can pitch into their customers over there. So my last question of this panel discussion is going to be with Vineet. Vineet ji, in your opinion, how does the shifting dynamics on cybersecurity play a role in shaping the software purchase decisions of the customers?
No, I think Sujoy touched upon some very critical points, having an SOP, having the endpoints covered, right? I mean, super critical, I think very, very well covered. I guess let's just look at some numbers, right, to understand the impact of, or even understand the cyber security threat landscape in India, right? The cyber security threat in India grew 400% during the pandemic. Okay. 85% of the SMBs got impacted by phishing or malware, and 65% of that 85% lost a lot of critical data about their end customers. Okay. India is the third largest apparently in using counterfeit software. Okay. And no surprise, 85% of the Indian SMBs were impacted, right? Look, the point is again going back to what I argued earlier, right? And our reseller, this is my request to our reseller, right? It's super critical we have a cost versus long-term discussion with the end customer, right? When you're pitching in a solution, it's easy to sell when it's cheaper, but you're going to definitely lose that customer forever the moment he sees his installation been attacked, right? That just means that hey, either your hardware is not secure, or the software layer on top of it is not secure enough, right? So have those right, as I said, tough conversations with your end customers and ensure that the right licenses, right hardware gets sold, even if it's costly, right? The impact is serious. As I said, it's going to be even more serious with the growth of endpoints which are getting created across the globe, right, including India. So it's super important. And look, as a company, Microsoft is focused on that. I'm sure a lot of companies would be to ensure the latest products which come out have enhanced security features, right? And this session is all about that. And you will have the next speakers probably speak in detail of what we offer. But my humble submission to all the partners here is it is costly to sell genuine license, but do that, ensure that the customer sticks with you forever. Yeah.
Okay.
Look.
Okay. So what I understood from those 4-5 questions which I have put across to these panelists, and they have said, number one, we all know now that hybrid work model is here to stay, and one needs to adopt to this scenario. Second takeaway, partner needs to equip themselves with the technology and security solutions to help organizations to protect their data and assets, especially at endpoint. They have to be very, very careful. Partners also need to ensure that organizations are provided with the genuine software with current versions and patching to avoid cyber threats, as Sujoy had mentioned. And also a major point that for all the partners, it was true earlier also, and even today also, that they should not be a vendor. As Vineet ji has said, they should become the consultant to guide them to choose the right solutions and practices. With this, I thank you both. And I would like Gitanjali, if there are certain questions, I could see certain raise hands. If people can ask, or they can send the message for their question, our panelists can answer that.
I,
Gitanjali?
I would request our dear partners to ask their questions in the chat box. And we'd love to hear from Vineet, Sujoy, and Alok on what their take is. Points, concerns, any thoughts on the session, please share your views so
On
that
message box?
on the message box, on the meeting chat.
I could see Jitesh Kumar Jain has raised a hand. He wants to say something. Ali Software Solutions, and Jitesh Kumar.
Do you, if you have any question, please share it with us. We'd love to hear from Vineet and Sujoy and Mr. Alok.
Is he unmuted or?
Gitanjali, is he unmuted? Can we unmute Jitesh?
No, we can only have questions in the chat box. I think we have one question.
Okay.
Why is cybersecurity in the workplace such a big challenge? And what could be the possible attacks in this hybrid workplace? If someone, I mean, we've discussed about this, but I think people are looking at more exposure to this question. So maybe
Sujoy.
Vineet or Sujoy could take a lead on this thought.
Okay, so when we talk about hybrid, people must be understanding it is working from office as well as working from remote areas, as well as it can be home or some outside any other place. So most of the organization before pandemic had fairly good security systems, technologies, and SOPs to protect their intellectual property as well as the data. The problem started after when the pandemic hit, and there was lockdown, and everybody has to move to their respective home, and work from there. So when the most important thing when they started working from home is that the control which was there when you from there to the IT department, IT team, especially the security team in IT department, that control started missing. People were not able to, the resources were not able, because they were also operating from home. So they were not able to monitor what kind of things, what kind of activities are happening at the employees' endpoints on their laptop or desktop, whatever they were using from home. And another important thing was there, the network connectivity, which was fully secured when those employees were working in the organization. But when they moved to their home, they started using their own hotspot, their own DSL, whatever they got during that time. They started using it to connect, and they were connecting. There are technologies where you can connect your corporate applications and all. But the problem arises from on the control piece and the monitoring piece at the endpoint. And another most important thing which I talked about a little back is that the updates, the patches, and all those things which were missing, which were happening automatically or manually when you were working from the offices. That got exploited, and Vineet talked about numbers, that in percentage, that how many attacks happened during that particular time. And if the weakest link was that only, that the patches were not up to the mark, or whatever technology you guys are people were using over the internet, open, because those internets are open internet. They call it as open because there's no firewall, no security is there on those internet. So those got exploited, and through that, the cyber criminals entered to the main systems, the main corporate system, using that particular pipe, using that particular. So now what we're saying that it is going to remain because people have adopted this kind of hybrid working. So you have to be very careful on the end devices from wherever your employees are working, your partners or any other associates who are working with.
Okay.
Gitanjali.
Yeah, I think we have.
I'm going long.
Yes.
Yeah. Next question.
We have a couple of questions from.
So let us quickly take that, Gitanjali.
Yes, sir.
So this is the problem with any system.
Kumar Jain from the partner community wants to know that how does one authenticate Windows keys which are readily available at the cost of 300 to 500? So I believe this question is directed towards Vineet. So we'd like to
Just a minute. And Vineet ji, there are two questions which I think of similar character. One is Jitesh Kumar Jain is saying, I want to know about the Windows keys authenticity which are available in cost of 300 to 500. Then there is another question from Mr. Alok Gupta of Software Solution. What is Microsoft India doing to prevent web portals like Amazon and Flipkart in their original store from selling counterfeit keys, which is saying software from these stores?
Got it. I mean, I'm not surprised seeing these questions. I'm sure you guys in the market face this day in, day out, right? As much as we do. Look, I think I'll take that little larger view to answer this, right? I mean, piracy has existed. As I said earlier, India is the third, from a ranking perspective, third most pirated country, right? In terms of software. Look, what are we doing? There are different things that we at Microsoft do to kind of curb piracy, right? Obviously, this is something which is impacting our revenue, and we'll be the last people to kind of sit quiet on it, right? So there are three things that we do to kind of curb piracy, right? One is obviously we're very strict, and we have a no tolerance policy, and our legal teams get involved, right? And I'll not get into details because it's legal. But that's an option that we don't mind using and have used in the past, right? The other thing that we do, and this question is more on Amazon, what's happening, right? So we have a takedown program, right? So we have a team which is dedicated to looking at these online sites, the Amazon, especially Amazon, to see if there are pirated operating systems. There are. And we then work back with Amazon to ensure that these sellers are blocked. We've done it in the past. We continuously keep doing it, right? And that's an engine that we've been working for some time. The other key thing is people like you, right? You guys are our evangelists, right? We keep coming to you. We keep training you on our products, on why we should sell genuine more and take a long-term view, as I said earlier, right? So these are the three broad things that we do, right? I mean, I'm not saying we are perfect or we've been able to curb it 100%, but we've taken strong action against resellers who've been doing it for long, right? So we don't mind doing it as much as we would not want to. So that's on our approach on piracy. But on the keys one, right? I know Nisha is on the call and he's going to cover that in detail later. So I'll leave it to that. But yes, do understand piracy is an issue with all the software companies in India, including Microsoft. Yeah.
So I think most of the questions which are coming is regarding the piracy. So in our next session, Nischal is going to cover that. So over to Gitanjali, please proceed with the next. Thank you again to both the panelists. It was a great discussion. I think partners have been benefited thoroughly because of these discussions, and they will understand and provide the right solutions to their customers. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alok, Mr. Vineet, and Mr. Sujoy. They were very valuable insights. I am sure our partners would definitely benefit from this session. However, moving on, our next segment that we've lined up is basically a presentation by Mr. Nischay Kanpal, wherein he'll be talking about data security in the hybrid world. Over to you, Nischay. I won't take too much of time, and I would really like you to take it forward from here.
Thank you so much, Gitanjali, and thank you, Alok, Vineet, and Sujoy for the valuable inputs. I'll just continue the story from where the discussion has been, what we have been hearing for the past half an hour now. I'll just share, I in fact have a presentation for all of us. So I'll just share that. Just allow me a minute. Hopefully that is completely visible to all of you. Now, What I'll be talking about, I think it has been well established by Vineet, Sujoy, that hybrid is the way to go forward. Every organization in India, be it SMB, large or MSME, they are all looking towards how they can go hybrid. How is it that they can uh, figure out more efficiency, more security, and they can get a competitive edge in the world that is changing very frequently right now. So there are multiple things. First thing that I would like to start off with is what are the challenges that we have in hybrid workplace? And I think Vineet, just before we began, he just mentioned a couple of points to all of us that what is the world looking like? The screen that you see in front of you, it clearly specifies from a survey actually from 2021, which highlighted the kind of inclination that organization managers and the employees have for hybrid workplace. And it's not that it is due to the ease. It is due to the increase in efficiency. It is due to the increase in the productivity. And obviously the cognitive overload that was there earlier because of just able to work in a one particular way, that has been sorted with the help of the hybrid workplace that is now in place. And those who do not have it yet, they are actually planning to implement the right kind of hybrid workplace in a situation ecosystem in their own organizations. But what does it bring apart from the positives that we are seeing? And I think Sujoy and Vineet covered it, that there are multiple challenges that we are facing these days. And when we talk about India, which in fact, most of the Indian population, we treat cybersecurity, we almost neglect it. So much so that you can see these are some of the headlines from the recent times. And you can understand the kind of impact that cybersecurity or the non-awareness about cybersecurity leads to the organizations, their employees, and the productivity. And it's not a matter of that it's just popping up due to hybrid workplace. It has been there. It's just that because of the hybrid workplace, the number of devices, the unsecured networks the people are working on, the counterfeit softwares that are being used across from peer-to-peer learning sharing websites, these counterfeits, these software solutions, they are actually creating a big loop or a big gap in the service that needs to be received by the organization and what they are getting. I'll show you one more statistic. And in fact, this is very interesting. So all of us know what phishing is. We all have received those mails where we have won something. We just need to click on that particular link, or our bank is asking about some information. And we generally tend to click on these particular links. These are called as phishing links. These are phishing simulations which are shared across to people so that they can give away this sensitive information. In SMB environment, 25% of employees actually clicked on a phishing simulation, which is almost 1/4. And out of these people, 71% gave away their passwords completely, which is very sensitive information, by the way. And once you give it away, you give 100% control to any cyber criminal who has set up this phishing simulation. Now, what is the impact of all of this? It's not a time where we are seeing that these things just mess up the work that we are doing, but they actually impact or result in direct and indirect losses that the companies, the organizations are facing these days. So much so that almost 1 billion URLs were set up in 2019. And I am here talking about 2019 and we are here in 2022. So you can understand the kind of increase we have, or exponential increase that we have seen, or we will be seeing in the upcoming surveys and results, God knows. And that is where we at Microsoft, we understand that once the hybrid workplace is in place, once the people are working across from different locations, from different devices, from different networks like their mobile phones for the network, or from their devices personally owned, we need to create a robust ecosystem which is secure in itself and works on addressing new challenges, new security challenges. And that is exactly where we are working on principles of zero trust security, which is verify explicitly, use least privileged access, and assume breach every time. Now, I'll just explain to you in a minute what exactly I mean by this. I remember most of us had heard from Microsoft in 2018 that Windows 10 is the last operating system that we are going to introduce. And here we are in 2022 that we are with Windows 11. Now, what made changes our mind? That is for the sheer fact that no one of us knew or believed that there would be a time where the people will not be able to meet each other from the similar location. Nobody knew the kind of challenges or the kind of the shift that we would see in the next upcoming years. And this is precisely what Windows 11 is now based on. We work on verifying each and every factor. So let's say if you are visiting a website, if you are giving access to a particular user, if you have accessed the device from a specific network or location, everything is verified by the OS. We use the least privileged access to ensure that the work that needs is only the access that is being received by the user, which we call as just in time and just enough administration. And assume breach every time everything happens. So what it makes us do is it proactively involves the OS and the security mechanisms to ensure that the cybersecurity in a hybrid workplace is of top notch. That is one of the most important things that you can see that we have a change. We have had changed in the recent times. Now, what about upcoming times? What is the next one? As we have been talking about, as I've been positioning at basically talking about Windows 11 every now. Windows 11 is obviously the next evolution that we have been working on, and we have been giving to the commercial users across India. Now, what is exactly there in Windows 11 Pro and the modern devices that we have? I think Vineet very nicely actually explained that the modern devices are something that we generally earlier we were not aware about the kind of challenges that we have. Now we need information on what kind of things can be done automatically with the help of the device, like working with the help of AI tools, the increased productivity with the help of tools which are built into the device, the remote work capabilities that we now expect every device to have, and at the same time the highest possible level security that can be offered in a device irrespective of the network capabilities or the location that we are in. So Windows 11 Pro actually takes care of all of these in one single position. Now, when we talk about Windows 11, the first thing is obviously the security, and for the simple fact that hybrid workplace is the preferred work ethic that we are seeing across in India, not just in big organizations, but in SMBs as well. So it is of the prime importance that we share all the important security factors built into the device, built into the modern device along with the OS. And this is where Microsoft is working actually with the device manufacturers, the OEM partners. We are working with them to develop the hardware, and we are working in a way that the OS can work in sync with the security technologies and provide the highest level of security. Since we are talking about hybrid all the time, what happens is in hybrid, you never know what kind of device we are working on, what kind of network we are on. As I've mentioned, probably I can be on a mobile hotspot, or I can be on an open Wi-Fi. The information of what I am sharing over on mail is being transmitted to somebody else as well. And in India, if we were to do a quick look, in fact, you will see the top 5 passwords in India. Out of that, password is also a password, and along with other passwords like admin and Om Sai Ram. So unfortunately, this is the security infrastructure and awareness that we are in right now. And that is what is being handled by Windows 11 with the built-in security with the help of OEM manufacturers. Now, when we talk about the security solutions, so there are multiple things. In a hybrid workplace, there can be multiple requirements. So if there is a person who is sitting out at a client location, his requirements will be different. If a person who is visiting multiple clients, his requirement is always going to be different. And if somebody is working on multiple devices as well, on multiple networks, then the requirements will again fall differently. So how do we ensure that the security for all of these employees, for all of these people from within the organization and outside the organization meets these standards? And this is where the device security bundled with the OS capability is there built in as default in Windows devices, which are modern for current timeline. If I were to ask all of you, I think most of you will revert to this as a negative. If I were to ask how many of you believe that devices pre-pandemic can handle the tasks in today's world, around 40-50% only would be saying that. And that is exactly and precisely what we have found out. If you were to understand the kind of security solution challenges that we have in the hybrid workplace today, the devices around 3 to 4 years back were meant for different tasks, for different purpose. Now we understand that it's a completely changed world. And this is exactly where the security from the chip level to everything that is stored on cloud is required in a one single holistic manner. What you see in front of you exactly is what Windows devices bundled with modern security capabilities deliver. So I am pretty sure you might have heard this term very frequently about secure devices, which is called as TPM. TPM is something which is built by the OEM manufacturers in partnership with Windows, and every device that you are seeing now, it comes bundled with TPM 2.0. Now what TPM 2.0 does exactly is, earlier our sensitive information like credentials, fingerprint authentications and everything, they used to get stored on hard disk drive or the solid state drive that we had. With TPM 2.0, all of the sensitive information like encryption technologies and everything, they actually happen on this particular chip. So every person who's trying to target your system on network, they will have to bypass this chip, which is physically impossible. And that is how the technology actually enhances with the help of the modern devices. Now, another thing that you have to understand is what kind of security that we are offering at different levels in Windows devices. So one thing that you need to understand is, first of all, it is by default. The user, organization, and the IT teams do not have to do anything apart from updating the systems at regular intervals with the critical updates. Windows OS takes care of all these things. Second, when working with modern devices actually work with OEM manufacturers with the OS requirements. And this is where on Windows 11 devices, you will find that everything is covered, be it the security, the injection code integrity, the VBS or virtualization based security, everything we cover in the devices even before the OS boots up. Now, what this means, before the system boots up, it is literally of no use to anybody. And that is a misconception that we have. Before the system boots, before the OS loads in the RAM in the system, it is or it was highly vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks such as malware, ransomware, all the kind of injected codes and boot sector viruses, which we have seen with the Windows 11 and modern devices. What happens is, with the capabilities of TPM 2.0 chip and the OS capabilities, it is now tamper proof. So if any application tries to actually tamper with the sequence or the boot sequence, the system will fail to load. That is the first thing. And second, it all happens simultaneously without any manual intervention. So all of this becomes a part of the work that we are doing. It becomes a day-to-day routine. So security becomes almost seamless with the work that we are doing. Now, why security? Why we are talking so much about security today right now? So one thing that all of us have to understand in a commercial workplace, we invest in devices because we want to be more productive. We want to have a competitive edge. We want to be more efficient. And that is why the transition from the physical to hybrid. But with the counterfeit or the shell PCs, as we call them, this is not exactly the case. In fact, if you see the statistic on your screen, you will see that India is actually the third largest in terms of the indirect costs, direct and indirect cost in the world. And what I mean by this direct and indirect cost is once you invest in a PC, that is the direct cost. Once the PC has any kind of software or data breach, which is the main aim of the malware or counterfeit applications, that is it precisely where you start losing the data, the integrity, at the same time, the customer's trust. And all of that bundled, if we calculate that in terms of the data cost and the data loss, data breach that we have, and the downtime that is caused because of these shell PCs, that sometimes cost twice as much as the device itself. So you can understand the kind of challenges that we are having in today's time. And that is the reason we are talking so much about cybersecurity. Now, I saw previously in a chat, there was a question about how do we understand what is genuine. Firstly, you have to understand that all of the things, security windows, that security features that it offers, it only works if you have a genuine software. If you are using a counterfeit application, if you are using a counterfeit OS, all of which I have spoken about, it gets washed away. It is literally of no use. Now, what are the kind of things that happen if you use a non-genuine software? Obviously, what you are doing is you are buying a very expensive house and you are keeping the doors unlocked. And through that door, anybody can walk in. And that is what is non-genuine software. You have invested in a infrastructure, device infrastructure, and you are bundling up with non-genuine. And what non-genuine does is nothing in the world is free. What the cyber security or the cyber criminals are doing is they are actually looking at the cost that they can recover from the device, the data, and the network that you are using. They push certain kind of malwares. They steal the credentials, the sensitive information, the sensitive information for your particular organization and employees both. And all of this is done with the non-genuine software or the applications that are being used across. And it poses a big risk actually. All of these infections can cost 10 times the amount of purchasing a genuine OS that you know. And that is one of the big asks, in fact, that we have today. If we are investing in a, let's say, a good ecosystem, good network, the importance becomes of prime importance. The fact becomes of prime importance that the software or the application that acts as a gateway is genuine and strong enough to deflect any kind of cybersecurity challenges that we are seeing. And finally, what are the benefits of owning a genuine Windows or any kind of software? Obviously, all of the challenges that we have spoken, be it the security challenge, be it any kind of issue, or in hybrid workplace today, as you can understand, there are multiple tools or technologies required time to time. With the help of genuine, you can get all of these with peace of mind, understanding that everything happens automatically on an on a self-managed level, and it can be easily taken care with the help of at the OS level itself. Now, how do we identify the correct one from the non-genuine? Obviously, pricing is one biggest thing. So I saw somebody in the chat saying there are windows of 300 to 500. I can also show you windows which are absolutely free of cost, and they work and behave just like the genuine windows. So that doesn't specify that they are genuine. We have to understand that if you are getting a genuine product, you have to get it from the right channel. You cannot get it from unauthorized websites or peer-to-peer sharing sites. The product is not separate from the keys. They are always sold together. And if you understand the kind of packaging that we have and the kind of packaging that is being offered on these fishy websites, as we call them, they are obviously much more different. Now, anything apart from it, one thing I would also like to add on over here is we often see that there are organizations which are actually working on counterfeit sometimes, and they say that it has been working perfectly fine. And that is where we get misdirected, or we get this conception in our head, notion in our head that it works just as fine as the genuine product. Not at all. Windows Genuine works with OEM security, what I've just highlighted, which is called as TPM 2.0. Counterfeit, what it does is it bypasses the TPM 2.0. And the moment it bypasses, the guard that you are paying to secure the device, it is you yourself are putting it out of the duty. So the work, the price that you have paid for the software for the device, that becomes literally it makes no sense. And this is exactly the difference that we have to understand today in cybersecurity and the way we work across, because hybrid workplace is not something different. In our timeline, we will see that in fact the cybersecurity challenges are already rising, and this is precisely which we have to understand and share with all our users at the same time, how the digital security can be used across, or how we have to be more aware about the digital cybersecurity in the space hybrid workplace that we are working across. So in case if you have any questions, I'll invite you to write it in the chat window, and I'll hand over the session along again to Gitanjali. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nishchay. I think it was a very exciting session, and I'm sure our partners would definitely benefit quite extensively with what you had to say about data security in this hybrid scenario, and how do they create solutions which are helpful for building more and more customer trust. Now, I would request all our partners to add more questions. I think some of the questions which are there in the chat box have already been responded to by Nishchay through his presentation. I see a couple of them. One of them being, how can one summarize cloud computing right away in order to cater to hybrid work model? And how does an SMB move forward by adopting this cloud computing technology? Because it's new and it's very raging as a trend. So
True.
what? So yeah, something you'd like to
So
add?
yeah, thanks Gitanjali for highlighting this. And in fact, see, one thing is when we are talking about hybrid workplace, hybrid is not completely virtual or completely remote.
Right.
It's a mix of what we do or what we did earlier, along with how we will be working across in the future in case of any challenges, in case if they arrive. Cloud computing is actually a technology where we are working completely with the help of cloud. The OS is on cloud, the device is on cloud, the work is on cloud. And that is the extension or the highest extension of the remote work capabilities that we are thinking across. How is it helpful? So obviously, when you're talking about cloud computing, you don't have to depend upon the device right now. Everything is taken care by the service you are using. How SMBs can move towards the adoption of cloud computing? Now that's a tricky question. The reason I'm saying this is tricky is because from us to move from physical to virtual, it took a pandemic, right? And that too, if we were to tell exactly how many SMBs are using efficiently the hybrid workplace, we will not be able to answer that correctly. So the first ask is that we move to a hybrid workplace where the devices, the limitations are eradicated with the help of technology, with the help of modern devices and the right OS and the right applications. And then with the help of the technology, once the employees, once the teams are able to use it across, the next step is definitely the cloud computing, where you do not depend upon the device, but the cloud services that are being provided across.
Thank you, Nishchay. I think that was quite insightful. Dear partners, are there any more questions? We have Nishchay for some more time with us. There's a wealth of knowledge here with the team, and any doubts, any questions that you guys have, they're here for you to help you in this new scenario.
Nishchay, this is Alok here once again. As you know that I'm also president of Delhi IT Channel Association. And this question comes across every now and then by the partners. In fact, this is regarding that selling the, you said that a partner should purchase from the right place.
Yeah.
They come to us that we are buying from Amazon and Flipkart. And from buying from Amazon and Flipkart, so it means that I am buying from a correct source. I am getting a GST bill also for the product I am purchasing. But it is, Windows is coming at 500, 700, Office is coming at 3000. So how can we compete and do the Microsoft business? So this is the challenge which they are facing. I think this is one point which I feel that you should address upon and see that how we can, Microsoft can take this forward, because this is a problem of, if I'll say, not only partner from Delhi, partner from all India
across.
Who face this challenge.
Thank you for raising this point, Alok. In fact, this is actually one of the biggest questions that we are getting all the bills and details and everything. How do we identify the right product? Price is different matter, but once you have the proof, you can't say. The simplest answer that we can do is Vineet spoke about a couple of points, like we are already engaging with Amazon. We have certain mechanisms in place to tackle these kind of sellers who are selling the wrong product. There is one more thing that we are doing, which is we have created an awareness site for the partners and for the customer as well, where they can go and identify, they can actually check the kind of product that they have purchased, whether it is genuine or not, whether the source is correct or not. That is howtotell.com. You can go to this website, and what this does is it gives you the steps to check the product, the authenticity of the product, the packaging, each and everything. And in case if still you are doubtful about the authenticity, there is a report counterfeit section where you can submit the keys, check, and from the team itself you can get an answer of whether the product is genuine or it's fishy. That is the first thing that we have that I want to highlight. The second part to it is, let's say there are multiple agencies working across. There are multiple people working across. They get so-called GST bills and everything. All right. Now, when we say that it's the right channel or not, so Microsoft sells licenses through certain specific channels, and those channels needs to be kept in mind. And that is one of the reasons where as you mentioned, government. So to government, we are also highlighting, we have something called as advisory letter, where we are sending to the departments who are actually posting on platforms like online portals for some kind of requisition. We are actually posting about the kind of steps that these departments need to check to ensure that they have paid for the product that they are getting, that they are getting the authenticated version of the OS or the application. There are clear steps that we have mentioned. At the same time, we have these advisory letters being floated across to all the government institutions that we come across, right?
Okay. Yeah. And one small suggestion, which I have seen that it has been implemented and it is working effectively. that all to these portals, Microsoft taking a intellectual property right route and tell them that any partner who is selling Microsoft products there should be authenticated by either by Microsoft or by one of its distributor. So don't allow anybody else to sell the Microsoft product. If I feel personally, if this works, because with the other industry where we took up this point, and with this route we could manage to control 90% of the damage. There was again a price issue, not the genuine and fake product issue. It was the genuine product selling at a very lesser price where partners could not sell their product, and they took the IP route, and then they spoke to all Amazon, Flipkart and all, and then yes, today we don't face this problem. So that is one suggestion which, if Microsoft can take this up, I think that this will bring the partner's life easier. Because currently what happens when they go and try to sell to the customer says, I'm getting online in this, you are cheating me. So this is something which we as an association hear every day. So Nisha, this was the only suggestion which I have.
Sure. So Alok, point noted. And to assure you and the audience that we have over here, there are already these kind of steps we are already taking, and they are already in place. So
Okay.
the one thing that I mentioned in advisory, so what you were mentioning is called as MAF, Microsoft Authentication and form, and this is actually required, and this is what we highlight to the government specifically to check before procuring from any of the sources that they are going for.
Great. I think that will help. Anything else, Gitanjali?
Okay, so
one more question has come for the sales, I think.
Yes, Mr. Ravi Kumar has just asked, why are there no more schemes or rebates on Microsoft products? Secondly, there is a gap in support from the customer care solution service, and it's probably creating a lot of challenges for the partners. So is there something that you'd like to say to that? Help our partners understand?
So to be honest, I'll not be the right person to give anything about the pricing or schemes. Okay,
Sure.
But however, I can say that that is not the correct case. Probably we need to be more connected on this particular front. In terms of the customer care, we have made the system more open. And the way we have made it more open is, if you go to any Microsoft product, let's say Windows for an example, rather than dialing a customer care number, there is an app that has been now developed which guides the users or the organizations directly to the kind of support that they require, so that the support is very precise. So that is all built in. It's just, I think that we need to be more aware about these things. And in case if there are any such queries where you need any kind of support, identification or authentication about the Microsoft product, the one portal that we can recommend to you to go anytime and check is howtotell.com. So that will definitely help you out in getting these nitty-gritties resolved.
So partners, the link has been shared on the chat for your benefit. You can definitely visit the link and get questions resolved in terms of authenticity of the product. Now, any other questions from the partners? Else we can move to the next segment.
Yeah, no more question, Gitanjali.
I think Mr. Rajiv Agarwal has, I think we'll take just one last question by Mr. Rajiv Agarwal. He just sent one. Where government department can complain or ask to check that offered Windows or Office software is genuine?
So again, the same link, how to tell is one of the ones. And then for government departments, as mentioned earlier, we are already, we have something called as advisory letters in place, which mentions the steps that they need to ensure to check before procuring or after procuring the right product, to ensure that they are getting the right product. It has each and everything. and that is specifically that we are floating to the departments who are putting any kind of requisition request, any kind of device or software request, right?
Okay. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Nishay. I think we're done with major questions here. I would really like to thank you. It was a very exciting session and very insightful. Thank you very much for all the insights that you've shared. I would like to move on with the next segment, which is a quiz for our guests. It's a very interesting quiz. Yeah. Okay, so here are the simple rules of the quiz. Top 10 participants with the fastest and the highest correct responses will receive reward coupons. The answers are to be submitted in the chat window, and you only have 15 seconds for each question. So I would quickly ask the question, and your time will start as soon as I finish. Your responses would be in the form of A, B, C, whatever the options are, and we'll go from there. So here's the first question, partners. Let's see who gets the prize. Windows 11 is a dash that helps protect data and access wherever business takes you. Option A, modern OS. Option B, zero trust ready OS. Option C, protected solution. Option D, hybrid solution. We want very quick responses from the partners. Let's see who gets the prizes today. We have last second going on, and time's up. Okay, we have some great questions. Now, second question. B, OS. C, application. D, identity. Time starts. Quickly, guys. 10 seconds gone. 2, 1, stop. Next question. Windows 11 strengthens security for features like Windows Hello and BitLocker with option A, secure chipset. Option B, OS. Option C, TMP 2.0. Option D, none of the above. Time is on. Let's see who gets the most points through this game. Last 3 seconds. 2, 1, stop. Moving to the next question. Which Microsoft portal provides you the details about right licensing and ways to identify genuine product? Howtotell.com, A, B, genuine.com, C, genuine.com, D, none of the above. Come on, guys, very quickly. Let's see who wins the prize this time. And here we go. 3, 2, 1, stop. Last question of the evening. Non-genuine product leads to the increased risk of 1, data loss, B, data breach, C, increased malware and ransomware attacks, D, all of the above. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Great. We have all these participants responding. It's such a great sight to see everyone participating. We will do a calculation of the people who've responded the fastest, the quickest, and your reward coupons will be shared on your email IDs within the next 3 to 4 days. Now, Let's see who got them right, just to get what are the answers. So the first answer is B, Zero Trust Ready OS. Windows 11 is a Zero Trust Ready OS that helps protect data and access wherever the business takes you. The second question, Windows 11 security priorities are inclusive of everything which is written above. All of the above, D is the correct answer. Windows 11 strengthens security for features like Windows Hello and BitLocker with C, TMP 2.0. Which Microsoft portal provides you the details about right licensing and ways? Option A, howtotell.com. And last question, non-genuine product leads to increased risk of all the points mentioned above. The answer correct is D. Congratulations to all the partners, and thank you very much for joining us today. It was wonderful session, very good questions and very good participation from our audience. And I would really like to thank all the speakers and the panelists, Mr. Vineet and Mr. Nischay from Microsoft India, who've given absolutely wonderful insights on the working model these days, which is hybrid in nature. And of course, I'd like to also extend a warm thanks to Mr. Sujoy Brahmachari for taking the time out, helping our partners learn more about cybersecurity requirements in this ecosystem. And last but not the least, Mr. Alu Gupta for stitching the entire panel discussion seamlessly, giving your inputs from a channel point of view as well. I hope you all enjoyed the session. We definitely look forward to your continuous support. Participate more and more. We will keep coming up with more such webinars and sessions to educate you guys further, tell you more about how genuine softwares can help you win customers and create a long-term association with your customers. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day. And all winners will be getting their notification on email in the next 3 to 4 days. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day ahead. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you, Gitanjali. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.